Hello and welcome to National Ag Day. We are joining you live from Martin Place in Sydney. We're so excited to be here in person to celebrate our wonderful farmers who are so passionate about growing fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, providing food and fibre for all people in Australia and all over the world. My name is Kayla Evans, and as I said, joining you live from Martin Place in Sydney today. If you're in the area, you should pop on down. We've got some fantastic fresh produce to give away and some other goodies to hand out as well. But if you're joining us online, hello to you as well. We've got some fantastic interviews happening all throughout the day today, and I'm really excited to introduce you to one shortly. I would just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we are recording today. That is the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and also the traditional custodians of the lands from which you're all joining us today if you're watching on the live stream. National Ag Day is a really important day to celebrate the hard work of our Australian farmers, and personally as someone who works for the National Farmers Federation and gets to work with Australian farmers every single day, I'm so thrilled that we get to be here in person and just spend a little time loving on our fantastic Australian farmers. If you are celebrating Ag Day today, wherever you happen to be, make sure you post on social media, share the love. The hashtag to use today is AgDayAU, and we'd love to see what you're up to today. We're about to be joined by a fantastic Australian farmer, Allison Harker, so I'll just quickly introduce her to you now. Allison is an AICD Company Director and Australian Rural Leadership Foundation graduate. As pre-qualified chair in financial services, primary industry and government, Allison has senior positions in financial services across Australia, the United Kingdom and Asia, including as director at Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, based in Hong Kong. Allison was recently appointed statewide chair for local land services and a board director of Prime Super, National Resource Management Regions Australia, and a local farmer, most importantly. Allison is a strong advocate for capacity building and wanting to contribute back to the ag industry. Allison is now a mentor in the Diversity in Ag Leadership Program and the Drought Resilience Leadership Mentoring Program. Good morning, Allison.
Good morning, Kayla.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm coming to you from finally a sunny Yass, which is Ngunnawal country.
It's been quite wet there, hasn't it?
It's been really wet. We've had the floods and wind and continual rain like lots of New South Wales.
Yeah. Allison, start us off by telling us about your farm, first of all.
Sure, we're mainly a sheep farm that raises sheep for wool production. We do some mixed farming as well and run some cattle in for pasture management.
And Allison, could you tell us about how you came to find yourself being a farmer?
I was really lucky to be born into a farming family. So after going away to school and spending a bit of time in a finance career, I really happily made the tree change back to our family farm and then more so into the greater agricultural primary industry sphere.
Beautiful. And Allison, obviously the theme of Ag Day this year is innovation. Do you want to talk to us about what innovation looks like on your farm?
I think innovation is a really exciting and continuing journey. I think for many of us farmers, we really look around for innovation, talk to our colleagues, talk to industry specialists, because it's a great way of continuing to improve not only economic productivity on your farm, but environmental outcomes. So for us in our production system, we really take a very considered approach. We look at the risks and reward factors. Are they short-term? Are they long-term outcomes? How much of a change would that be to our system? You know, what's the legacy we might be leaving for our kids through making that innovative change? So I think for an example, in our production system, you know, we obviously went through a really tough drought, all of New South Wales and much of Australia. So for us, being I suppose, a more established farming family, you know, that had been doing things a certain way for a number of generations, the drought gave us a time to sort of sit back and reset. So we really thought about, you know, when we restock, what's that going to look like? How are we going to manage it? What type of sheep should we consider restocking with? So we chose a different type of sheep to restock with that had a broader back that we thought we could manage more easily given things like fly strike. And in these really wet conditions, we're really happy that that choice has sort of paid off, and those sheep are managing really well in the current environmental conditions.
Mm. I think something you're talking there about there, Alison, is the resilience of Australian farmers, particularly through times of drought. As someone who's a mentor on the Drought Resilience Leaders Mentoring Program, do you want to talk about, the real gumption that Australian farmers have?
It just amazes me every day when I speak to some of these farmers and the energy and effort they continue to put in. Natural disasters have been front and centre for us for a number of years, and they use innovation to continue their journey in farming, to produce amazing food and fibre for our country and to export internationally. So I suppose the journey I particularly enjoy seeing over the last couple of years is the way farmers and producers and land carers have really started working together and supporting each other for a very symbiotic and mutual benefit. That we get a really clear environmental benefit, along with better production. And as custodians of land, it's really exciting to know that we're going to leave it potentially better than we found it.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Alison, you've obviously had some really important roles all over the country, all over the world, rather. Could you maybe talk to us about how you think those roles and that outside expertise has helped you to be innovative on your farm?
Sure. I think I've been a really grateful recipient of a lot of training, whether it be sort of financial management training, governance training, systems and processes. And coming back into a farming role, I used every single one of those skills. Farming is such a complex environment to work in. I think it's potentially one of the most challenging and rewarding businesses that you can be involved in. So I'm very grateful for that experience. And I know a lot of farming families also encourage their children to go out and have some experience in different industries to be able to bring that back to their potential future farming career. I mean, for me, one of the most rewarding things was bringing my children back to regional New South Wales and bringing them up on a farm. I mean, it's such a great place to raise your kids, and the community around you is so supportive.
Alison, I'm really interested to know, you've got young kids. What are you telling them about the future of farming?
Interesting. My daughter asked me this question the other day. She said, "Oh, I think I'd like to be a farmer, but I don't know if I want to do it the same way you do it now." And I said, "Well, that's great. You don't have to do it the same way, and I encourage you not to." So I suppose where innovation and technology come in is the next generation will do it differently. They'll think differently. And I think that's really exciting for them, that they can make primary production or whatever they want their farm or system to look like. It can be what they're trying to achieve, or what socially or environmentally, we're trying to achieve as a community.
And Alison, you're on a multi-generational family farm. How do you see that innovations changed over the times that the farm's changed hands?
I think you use all the wisdom and knowledge you have in the multi generations. You have the wisdom and depth of knowledge of the older generations, which can stop you from making repetitive mistakes. They've seen it before, and they can sort of give you great advice. I think then you have the energy of a new generation trying to come in and use technology and innovation to enhance what they're doing. And then you have the eyes of the next generation, which really look, in terms of social responsibility and environmental sustainability. So for me, I think we're really lucky to have multi-generational eyes on our production system.
Absolutely. And Alison, for people who are tuning in today, maybe tuning in because they don't know a lot about farming, what does a day in the life look like for you?
I think it can look like four seasons in one day. You may be out there getting wet, sunny, windswept, but it's just such a great place to be, out and about in the green, trying to make the soil or the stock, as healthy and robust as you possibly can. It's a truly enjoyable role. as we know, it can be really tough, but equally really rewarding. So I would say that people go and visit one of your farms, go to your local community, have a look at the produce they're creating. It's really amazing in terms of some of the types of technologies they're using and the actual product itself in Australia. They're delicious.
And Alison, have you got any sort of projects or undertakings happening on the farm at the moment, really focusing on that sort of environmental space?
Yeah, look, we've been working with Greening Australia for about 20 years now, really looking at how to regenerate our farm. And we've done it predominantly through shelter belts. And every day as you drive past the farm, you can see that where they've grown and developed, and you can see the wildlife come back, whether it's insects or birds. You can see the benefit for water management of these shelter belts, biosecurity management, and stock, the shelter belts that they add. So I think for us, continued environmental management will be ongoing. And I always ask around the communities and look at all the various natural resource management groups at what they're undertaking and why, how they can connect, not just to our production system, but how we can connect into the whole of landscape or the whole of catchment. So for us, that's always been a priority and something we'll continue to focus on.
And Alison, as someone who works quite extensively in that natural resource management space, can you talk to us about we've touched on it a little bit, just how proactive Australian farmers are about managing and preserving and helping their land to flourish?
Australian farmers are so proactive in this space. Like I said, it impresses me some of the ideas and concepts that they're adapting. They're really trying to protect their waterways, whether that's fencing them off or restoring them or making sure that the habitat, is in a really healthy and sustained framework. To just how they really invest in their soils. That's become such a huge focus of the health of soils, because we know that's where so much of both the productivity and the environmental landscape really hits. So I think farmers are continuing, producers are continuing to work on this day by day and learn from each other and learn from the science and technology that's out there. I think, as some of the others mentioned, it's very data driven now, and it's really helps producers put in a baseline so they can see if their technology or the practice and change management they've put in is actually working. So, working with scientists and people in the data space is really important.
Alison, any parting words for us on this National Ag Day? Anything you want to share or hope that the viewers leave with today?
Well, it's just, we are so lucky in Australia to have such a great environment to live in and to produce in. So I just hope everyone gets to celebrate National Ag Day, whether it's trying a new product or talking to a farmer or making a contribution back to your environment. I hope everyone has a fabulous day.
Wonderful. And a fabulous day to you as well, Alison. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Kayla.